What is good, all you Dolphin and football fans out there? In today's video, I'm going to be going over the AFC East and who amongst the Dolphins, Bills and Jets has the best chance to dethrone the Patriots as the top dog in the division. So, heading into the 2020 season, the pole position for first place in the AFC East is as wide open as it's ever been. For a good 20 years now, 2 decades, Belichick, Tom Brady and the Patriots have had their boots on the throats of the Bills, Dolphins and Jets. The Patriots' dominance has led to all kinds of dysfunction between the three franchises, from awful coach hirings to paying mediocre quarterbacks like, at the time, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Ryan Tannehill, power struggles in the front office between coaches and GMs, and of course, horrible draft picks with premium selections. It's just been 2 decades of nonsense below the Imperial Patriots dynasty. But now, after Brady has decided to bolt down south to the Tampa Bay Bucks for the first time in a very, very long time, it feels like the division is open for the taking. The Brady-Belichick combo is no more, but arguably the most important component of the dynasty is still in place, and that's Coach Belichick, and considered by most to be the greatest coach of all time, and I definitely agree. 6 Super Bowls, actually 8 Super Bowls if you include his 2 in his time with the Giants in the 80s. He's got the ability to teach any position on the field. He knows offense, he knows defense, and he even knows special teams. He's just a football maven and, man, just a great coach that just knows how to win. As long as Darth Vader, the hoodie, whatever you want to call him, is still in New England, the Patriots always have a chance to get into the playoffs and maybe even win a Super Bowl. And, of course, dominate over the AFC East. Even though the Patriots lost a host of players on both sides of the ball, you still have to respect the organization's ability to outsmart the rest of the league. They just really are always ahead of the curve. So, based on, I hate to admit it, the greatness of Belichick and the organization, you have to consider them the favourites to take home the AFC East title yet again. As long as Belichick is in place, the Patriots, I think, will always be competitive. But outside of the Patriots, when looking at the division, as it currently stands, it looks like the Buffalo Bills are the biggest threat to take the division. Over the past 3 seasons, the Bills have been to the playoffs twice during that span. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane really have built a solid football team over the past few seasons. They really just built the team the right way, in the trenches. They've got their young quarterback here. They're just doing things exactly how you should. They're definitely doing a tremendous rebuild. Like the Dolphins, they've built a winning football culture that is based on the right principles. Their defense is elite and has been for a couple of years now. They've got dudes all over the field on that side of the ball. Starting in the secondary, they've got Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer. Those guys are just playing at an incredibly high level at the moment. It's just a 3-headed monster in that secondary, and I'm a huge fan of the way those guys play. Jermaine Edmonds at linebacker, at middle linebacker. I was a huge fan of him going into his draft year. He's just an incredibly young dude that's just amazing at the position. He's got a real chance to be the best middle linebacker in the league. Some would consider him the best at the moment. Ed Oliver is going to be coming into his 2nd year, so he should improve. He's a beast up front, and man, cannot wait to see how he's going to attack offenses in 2020. And I just really expect the Bills defense to continue to play at a whole level going into this coming season. They've been elite for a couple of years now, and I expect that to continue. For the Bills, their biggest area of improvement will come from the other side of the ball, and that's the offense led by Josh Allen. If Josh Allen can continue to improve, this team just has a real chance to get into the winner's circle, to be, a continuous playoff team. Without a doubt, Josh Allen's arm is an absolute rocket, but he's going to get better on his deep ball accuracy. Close to every Bills game I watched, Allen overthrew his receivers by at least 5 to 10 yards. It's just, his arm is insane, but the accuracy definitely doesn't match the arm. All the arm strength in the world can't help you if you can't throw the football with timing, touch, and accuracy. And if Josh Allen can improve in these areas, the sky's the limit for the big man out of Wyoming. If he pulls all that together, man, he's got a real chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. By all accounts, he's a pretty smart guy. He definitely got better in his 2nd year. He definitely, looked more comfortable in the offense and looked much better, orchestrating a winning offense. But if he can pull that accuracy together and just become a more complete quarterback, Josh Allen's going to be scary, man. The Stephon Diggs addition is going to help out tremendously, and I know a lot of Bills fans are definitely happy with the addition of Diggs. He runs some of the best routes in the league, and he gets open more times than not. A receiver of Diggs' caliber should alleviate the entire offense. The Bills gave up a lot for Diggs, so they're hoping that he can take the offense to the next level. And also the drafting of Gabriel Davis and Isaiah Hodgins should help the receiving core as well. Those guys to go along with Cole Beasley and John Brown, and of course Diggs should equate to a much better receiving core than the team had in 2019. The run game should also be improved in 2020. The drafting of Zach Moss in the third round will be the perfect complement to Devin Singletary. Those two guys are going to be a dynamic duo in the backfield, and as a Dolphins fan, I definitely am jealous of those two guys in the backfield. Moss is going to be a tremendous pro, and he's really got it all. I really feel like he was one of the best running backs heading into the 2020 draft. Many football fans out there believe that the Bills' 10-6 season in 2019 was a result of the team's favourable schedule. We shall see this next season if they will be able to prove everybody wrong and take the top seed in the AFC East once and for all. On to the New York Jets, somehow 7-9 in 2019, also have a real chance to improve on that record next season and maybe even be crowned AFC East champions. Despite losing Sam Darnold to mono for part of the season, the Jets were somehow able to pull off 7 wins in 2019. This next season for the Jets just really hinges on Sam Darnold's health and improvement heading into his third season. I'm a huge fan of Sam Darnold and I want to see him succeed in the league, but unfortunately he plays for the Jets, so it's really a bittersweet situation for me. I want to see him do well. I want to see him develop into the elite quarterback I know he can be, but also he's coached by Adam Gase, man, the worst head coach in the league. I cannot stand the guy. As a Dolphins fan, we've seen the worst of Gase, and I'm sure a lot of you Jets fans have seen an absolute fool of a head coach this man is. He is not fit to be a head coach. He's barely fit to be an offensive coordinator. I just cannot stand his demeanor, especially how he's been acting in New York with his cap down at all of his press conferences. The guy is just an idiot, and God, Joe Douglas has to fire this man. But on another note, CJ Mosley and Avery Williamson were lost to injury earlier on in the season, and they were both huge pickups during last year's free agency that just never saw the field at all. CJ Mosley hurt his groin in week 1, I believe, and Avery Williamson, I think, was hurt sometime in the training camp or preseason, so let's see if those guys can make the field for the Jets. Having those guys back in the linebacker room should be a huge help to the team and the defense. At the halfway point of the season for the Jets, they only had 1 win, but the second half of the season definitely was a different story for the team. The Jets rallied in November and December and pulled off 6 wins in 8 games to finish 7-9. That offered at least some room for optimism in 2020, and the offseason has offered a lot more hope for fans moving forward. The Jets focused their attention in free agency and the draft on fixing the offensive line that allowed 52 sacks in 2019, 4th most in the NFL. I believe the Dolphins had the most with, I think, 56, something like that. They signed tackle George Fant to play tackle and center Coven McGovern and used the 11th overall pick on the 6'7", 364-pound Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. I think he's going to be a beast in the NFL. I'm a tremendous fan of Becton. I was really hoping the Dolphins were going to take him somewhere in the draft. So the offensive line for the New York Jets is definitely going to be an upgraded unit for the team in 2020. You could say the Jets have gotten better compared to 2019, but they've still got some big holes. Despite doing a good job in free agency and the draft to fix that offensive line, they haven't addressed their edge rushing position. They ranked 23rd in the league in 2019 in sacks, and the pass rush hasn't got better at all. I mean, they didn't use any of those premium picks to draft a guy that's going to get after the quarterback, so that's definitely going to be an area of concern for the team, which it has been for the last, I don't know how many years. The Jets haven't had a good pass rusher for well over 5 years, and they're not going to start now. The next 2 picks for the Jets I definitely was a huge fan of. They drafted Denzel Mims in the 2nd round, and he should be a nice upgrade for the offense. I just love his blend of elite speed and just ability to go up and win those 50-50 balls and just catch those circus catches. He's just an amazing receiver, and I don't know why he didn't go higher in the draft. I mean, he should have gone, in the back third of the 1st round, or earlier in the 2nd round, but the Jets have definitely got a real steal here in the 2nd round. He's going to step in and be the presumed number 1 wideout from the get-go, and the Jets are hoping he's going to be their Robbie Anderson replacement. But it really is highly unlikely that Mims is going to be able to have the same kind of impact in his rookie year than Robbie Anderson he's had, over his past 4 years with the Jets. I love his game, but we'll have to see what kind of a connection he can develop with Sam Darnold in this coming year. If they get going from the get-go, if they get clicking and Darnold just is hitting Mims all over the field, he's going to be a tremendous addition for them and that offense. And he probably is going to be the number 1 wideout for them because they've got no one else. I mean, who else have they got in the field? Quincy Enunwa, I mean, they got no one, so they're hoping Mims is going to come in and make an impact. Also drafting Ashton Davis in the 3rd round is going to be a huge boost for an already solid safety room to go along with Jamal Adams and Marcus May. He came off the board 2 picks before the Dolphins' 70th overall collection, which was, just super annoying at the time. And of course, he had to be taken by the Jets right before our pick, but that's just how it went. We've got Brandon Jones, and we'll see how he's going to do for the Dolphins. Greg Williams does love his 3 safety packages, and I'm sure Davis is going to thrive with the Jets from the get-go. He's got an elite blend of speed, athleticism, and just physical tackling ability, which is going to be a huge treat for the team and, unfortunately, for Jets fans. I'm a huge fan of Ashton Davis's game, and I think he's going to be an amazing safety in the NFL. The Jets, with all these additions, definitely can pull off another 3 wins, so I think the ceiling for them is 10-6, and if it's a disaster and Sam Darnold just isn't clicking and Adam Gase is the same joke he's been the last couple of years, I definitely could see the team winning 5 to 6 games. But who knows how the season's going to go for them. They could take out the whole division, and let's just see how things go for the Jets. But in all honesty, as a Dolphins fan, I'm really hoping they're going to continue to be a complete train wreck of a team. And lastly here, we've got the Miami Dolphins, the team all us Dolphins fans know and love. Among the 4 teams in the AFC East, you could easily argue the Dolphins are the team that has improved the most over the course of the off-season, while at least on paper you can say that. The team that will hopefully take the field in 2020 is a squad that is much more talent-rich compared to the 5-11 practice squad unit the Dolphins put out on the field in 2019. The Dolphins have gotten much better at every position on the team, and we'll start here with quarterback. The quarterback room in Miami is now one of the best in the league after the Dolphins drafted Tua Tagovailoa 5th overall in the draft to go along with Fitzmagic and Josh Rosen. It's a room that boasts a lot of talent, and we haven't seen a quarterback room like this in Miami for, what feels like an eternity. Fitzpatrick is likely going to be the starter, with Rosen and Tua likely competing for the backup role. Josh Rosen may very well compete to be the starter, but as it currently stands, I really think the Dolphins are going to go with Fitzpatrick moving forward. As far as Tua's role in his first year with the team, it really would be in the best interest of the Dolphins to redshirt Tua in his first year with the team. Let his body heal 110% while also letting him soak up all the knowledge he can from the great bearded one. Handing over the reins to Tua in 2021 is just the perfect situation for the team, and it just allows him to be the best possible quarterback he can be going forward. Running back is another position that has been greatly improved compared to the 2019 stable of backs the Dolphins trotted out last year. Jordan Howard signed in free agency, and Matt Breida was traded for a 5th-round pick with the 49ers on day 3 of the draft. Those 2 guys are going to be a perfect 1-2 combo in the Dolphins' backfield. Howard's going to be the tough nose between the tackles power back that's going to grind out tough yards, while Breida will be the game-breaking speed back that can attack defenses from anywhere on the field. He's a dynamic, efficient back that will pick up chunk yardage at a rapid pace. It was a very underrated trade by the Dolphins, and Howard and Breida are going to be a tremendous duo for the team in the backfield. A very much improved unit on offense, and it definitely leaves the Dolphins open to drafting a running back high in the 2021 draft. And I'm really hoping for Najee Harris out of Alabama. Wouldn't that be perfect to reunite him back with Tua? The receiving core is deeper than ever, with the big boys outside, Preston Williams and Devontae Parker, to go along with Albert Wilson, Isaiah Ford, Jakeem Grant, and Alan Hearns. The receiving core is as deep as it's ever been, and those guys are going to be tremendous weapons for whoever's going to be our starting quarterback. The offensive line is another unit that's going to be greatly improved compared to the abysmal O-line the Dolphins trotted out in 2019. The O-line last year was easily one of the worst in the league. I think we gave up the most sacks, and you really got to feel for Fitzpatrick and the beating he took in 2019. But he took it on the chin and was probably the MVP of the Dolphins in 2019. But now, after free agency and the draft, it's a completely different story when looking at the Dolphins' projected starting O-line. In the draft, the Dolphins drafted Austin Jackson 18th overall to be the presumed starter at left tackle. Now, he is young at 20 years old, and he does need some refinement, but looking at Jackson, he's got all the makings of a future franchise left tackle. To man the left guard spot, the team brought in Eric Flowers of free agency to hold down that spot. He's a big, powerful guard, 6'5", 330 pounds. He'll surely be a big upgrade next to Austin Jackson. At center, the Dolphins poached Ted Karras from the Patriots to be the man in the middle of the unit. He turned down a better contract with the Patsies to come down to South Florida. Karras is going to be a big upgrade over last year's starter, Daniel Kilgore. He holds up very well in pass pro, and he does a great job on the move, clearing the way for running backs. Karras is a vet that's going to be sorely needed on a line that's going to feature a lot of young players. It's going to probably have close to 3 rookie starters on the line, so Karras' experience is going to help out tremendously. The right side of the offensive line is going to be an open competition to at least 3 players. Solomon Kinley, taken in the 4th round of the draft, is the only player amongst them that's probably going to be competing solely at guard. Robert Hunt, taken 39th overall in the draft, has guard tackle versatility, so we'll have to see where he's going to fit best on the offensive line. For the moment, the Dolphins are hoping he'll have the chops to be the starting right tackle, and I'm thinking that's going to be his best position. He's got the athleticism, he's got the size, he's got the ability. Robert Hunt would be tremendous at right tackle. And the last starter here is possibly Jesse Davis, who's going to be competing at right guard or right tackle. Like Hunt, we'll have to see how these guys work in training camp to determine who will work best on the right side of the line. But whoever it is doesn't really faze me at all, as I know the O-line will be head and shoulders above the squad we saw in 2019. I just really cannot wait to see how this line comes together in training camp and preseason. And God, we've got some big boys up front that are going to take absolutely no prisoners. Moving on to the other side of the ball, the defense is really something to be excited about for the Dolphins in 2020. Up front, the Dolphins brought in Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Van Noy in free agency to wreak some havoc in the front 7. Those guys are strong run stuffers that can also get after the quarterback. Van Noy is a great versatile piece that's going to line up anywhere on the D-line, from defensive tackle to edge rusher, while also playing close to nearly every linebacker role. He's a perfect chess piece for this Dolphins offense, and Coach Flores knows how to deploy him very well after their time in New England. Raekwon Davis, out of Alabama, taken in the 2nd round, is a perfect piece to inject into the defensive line. His skill set just fits perfectly in this scheme. Throw in Strobridge and Curtis Weaver, and you got yourself a young, deep line that's as versatile as it gets. In free agency, the Dolphins also added Landon Roberts and Kamu Grugier-Hill to provide even more solid depth behind Jerome Baker and Raekwon McMillan. The front 7 for the Dolphins is looking like a formidable force heading into next season, man. It's just head and shoulders above the front 7 we saw for the Dolphins in 2019. Onto the secondary, this may very well be the biggest strength on the team when it's all said and done. The Dolphins signed Byron Jones to a massive contract to pair with Xavier Howard to form an elite lockdown duo on the outside at quarterback. Noah Igbenogany, drafted in the 1st round, 30th overall, is another terrific addition to the secondary. He's an athletic, physical presence at corner that can play boundary, or he can play on the inside as a nickel corner. Brandon Jones, a draftee taken 3rd round out of Texas, is another versatile piece for the Dolphins defense. He can play up near the line of scrimmage, and he can also drop back as a deep safety. Igbenogany and Jones, to go along with Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Eric Rowe, Bobby McCain, and Clayton Fejedelem, will form a dynamic and deep secondary that can be deployed however Flores and the defense sees fit. And that's not even mentioning Jamal Wiltz and Nick Needham that proved they belonged in the league over the course of the 2019 season. The options are just really endless for the Dolphins on the back end of this D. But despite all the upgrades the Dolphins have made over the past couple months, where does this leave them in regard to their place in the AFC East? If it all comes together for the Dolphins on both sides of the ball, I could see them sitting atop the division come January. The team is more than well equipped to combat whatever the Bills, Jets and Patriots throw at them. After going 5-11 in 2019 with a 3rd-string XFL team, it really wouldn't be far-fetched to see the Dolphins double their win total in 2019. The sky really is a limit for this Dolphins team in 2020, and they're just only getting started. I really could see them dominating the AFC East and hopefully dominating the AFC and the NFL for many years to come. So, after that breakdown, who do you guys see being the top dog of the AFC East? The division, like I said earlier on in the video, is as open as it's ever been. For the first time in 2 decades, we could possibly see a new king of the division at the conclusion of this season. It's just uncharted waters, and God, I'm really hoping it's anyone besides the Patriots. So, that's it for this video, guys. Make sure to leave some feedback in the comments section. Always love hearing from you football fans out there. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And don't forget, as always, it's fins up, baby. There's no better time than the present to be a Dolphins fan, and I cannot wait to see how this team will come together whenever the beginning of the season may be. Cheers, guys.